Okay, that pull was bad.
Reaper on Hog?
If you're gonna pull somebody, either pull them into the ground, like say for instance, like let's just kind of look at this. I'm gonna show you the reason why this pull on Reaper was bad. The reason why this pull was bad was because
My bad.
it pulled Reaper into the position he was already in.
Yeah.
So instead of him like moving here and then being pulled back, he was just instead right over here and then just got pulled there. I'm just like, nah, it's not good. If you're gonna pull somebody who's like in the same XZ position, then pull them upwards. And so that way, if they try to like maybe kind of go out, then they get pulled back and then they fall in the air, become a predictable angle, get killed. Or like, say for instance, he was still under here, he would just get pulled up and then he would fall down, and still be more killable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose in terms of like, alright, cool. So my first thought was I didn't know if he had Shadow Step off cooldown. However, potentially because the fact I halted him put pressure for him to use his Shadow Step. Is that two ways to look at the situation?
Yeah, it depends on two ways if you plan to look at the situation. Your thought process, I think, of using an Orisa halt to potentially the fact that you tactically tried to use your halt to essentially, I quote, bait out the Reaper Shadow Step was kind of bad. Like, the idea is pretty good, but what you want to do is you want to like force him to use his ult. You don't want to bait him, you want to force him. And that's why that's why pulling him up into the air would have been more better. Yeah.
Of course.
So
because that actually had intent.
Yeah.
Just that be intent and the correct execution versus intent with bad execution, which would be, as you said, pulling him into the team opposed to up in the air, which would have forced him to cool down.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Reaper on Hog?
There's even sometimes you could even like don't be kind of like afraid to maybe just look at like how you could have maybe refined your thought process in this specific situation right here. Like in my opinion, what I would have done first is I would have shot the Reaper to have forced out his Shadow Step. Like that's what I as an Orisa player would have done, because I know I'm confident in my aim that I could kill this Reaper before he could kill my teammates. And if my teammate focuses him, then pretty much we'll just bat out his health before he does anything, and then he dies, and then we're happy living. And if he does kind of look like he's gonna get some damage in, like say for instance he's dangerously close to one of our allies, then I'll like pull him back just so that way our ally's more safe. Take away his nice, lovely option of possibly killing someone because he's close, and then pulling him far away, and then giving him the option where he needs a cold distance, and then oh no, he dies.
I can.
Soldier might want to come back. You really far forward.
Yeah, your soldier is on it. You need to tell your soldier, hey, this soldier looks like he's gonna die. He's playing way too stupid. He's playing like an idiot here.
Soldier?
Does die, I think.
He doesn't even have any sort of healing. What is he doing?
No.
I don't think he's here in chat.
It
doesn't die.
Oh Genji now.
What? Am I blind? Didn't I just see the soldier like
2 bars, something like that.
No, he was out of it for a bit. Okay, then he Genji now. Okay, so it was very risky by your soldier, but if your soldier had fucking died from it, you would have had every right to have been mad at him. But you don't need to be mad at him because people will sometimes make mistakes, and it's nice to forgive people because you don't get mad over it. Because you can still win fights despite mistakes. And however, your soldier, I'm definitely sure your soldier wasn't planning to die there. Like, people just don't plan to die, and you shouldn't blame someone for their execution. Blame someone for their idea. You can get mad at people's ideas because then that's when they're just basically being retarded to you. Like, that's why us GMs just hate masters and diamonds, because we just hate their ideas. We just hate the way how they think, and then that's why we get mad at them. But we don't get mad at them for like playing. We don't get mad at them for like fucking up a charge or fucking up a shatter. Like, we just laugh at them for it because people just like fuck up sometimes. You know, it happens to the best. So I would say try not to worry too much about about the intent of your teammates, but rather try not to worry too much about the intent of your teammates, aka the idea. Only worry about it if you know their idea is bad.
What's up for Trace on that side?
I like to usually believe in my teammates' execution.
There's
Yeah.
someone behind
Because most of the time, my teammates' execution
left
actually
side.
fucking
Watch
succeeds.
inside.
First off, useless, wasted Hulk because that thing did nothing. And second off, wasted fortifying. You should have fortified right as your shield would have broke. Another thing is that, so back onto the Holt again, you kind of threw your Holt out with no good purpose. Like, what was the purpose of that Holt? What did you expect to get from that Holt?
I think at the time, obviously I haven't looked at the VOD yet, but I think at the time I was thinking, cool, I'm just going to pull him in to my LOS to shoot him.
Yeah. And do you realize how little of value that is for an 8-second cooldown?
Because he's already there, so there's no need to pull.
Exactly, right? He's already there. It wasn't even necessary to pull him. It was actually quite unnecessary. So that was like a wasted Hulk there. So yeah, another thing, a wasted ability.
Grace is low inside. That's...
Over here would have been a good Hulk because then now you're pulling them out of cover into your LOS. This a pull onto the Mercy is so nice here, but you didn't immediately have your Hulk. But now you do. Yeah, it's because you wasted your Hulk earlier. You didn't have the option of being able to pull out enemies out of cover.
Walk back a little bit, guys. Walk back a little bit. They're bored. They're ready.
This is the importance of always playing good because good players are always lucky. If you were lucky enough to have your Hulk there, you would have won. Okay. So one thing you don't do is you never ult when your team is down 2 people. Remember when Moira died? You're already down 1 person. That's kind of like that's like a yellow flag telling you, hey, don't try to ult this. This is a bongo. What's a bongo gonna do? It's not Nanoblade where you can get 4 picks. A bongo is an enabler where you can get something. A bongo is an advantage maker. And then the second off, your Roadhog dies, and then you try to ult. And I'm just looking at this like horrible decision making because you should never ult when you are down 2 people. You are just essentially wasting the ult. The only time you ult is when you're trying to win a fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Never use an ultimate if you're not winning. If you know you can't win the fight.
Genji hack.
I go junk here. No.
That's
Is that junk?
jump would be good.
Oh my god, this is so bloody.
No, it's
No, actually,
Mercy's hack.
they're not really clumped up, mate. So I think.
Got the Mercy.
Man, this
Nice,
is bloody.
nice,
as
nice,
hell.
the
Yeah, no.
geometry would allow it, I think. I don't know. I'll stay hot for now.
Yeah, stay hog.
It's only 30 seconds. Okay, Reaper is...
Try and get your
Where
EMP
you
up and let us know when you have it.
Roadhog is hacked.
Attack. Just farm off him. Okay, we're gonna have EMP for the next fight.
I will have it, yeah, in some...
I'm here.
Wait.
Pulling hog.
But it's
Okay,
Grace left.
I'm on. It's completely the execution. We both know that that you kind of threw the Holt out a little too far from the hog because he was already walking away. Like if you maybe improvement on your execution here is if you instead halted, like tried to halt the hog into the air, then that would have been probably a good one. Oh, please kill him! Oh no, yeah. If you ever fortify and you see a hog press Q, that's kind of the signal to say back the fuck up or else you're gonna die because hog ult does so much fucking damage if you absorb it, especially if it's into your head. If I was fortifying and I saw a hog press Q, I would have been like, I'm turning the other way around. I'm putting my shield down. I'm not fucking dying today. Please kill this hog.
I am here, this.
Call out target, guys. Call out target.
Nice.
I got Roadhog and died. They're low, guys. It's winnable,
Mercy
winnable.
no rest, Mercy died.
Nice, well done, Bastard.
Winnable. Mercury's one.
Despite people always sending me losses and VODs, I always hope that these guys would win.
I'll go Doom.
Nice.
What's
I just have like the urge to always cheer on for the people I watch.
Nice, well done, guys.
Nice.
Bolt,
Nice.
bolt. Nice. That's okay.
This is pretty good over here. So, do you actually play Orisa for... Oh, you play Reinhardt, I think. Yeah, you do play Reinhardt. So...
Nice, Kenny.
What do you know about Reinhardt here?
Cool with you, so we'll be.
Anything you would like to talk about before we get into Reinhardt?
Well, for me, like I mentioned over the Discord, it's like the way I think as a person is kind of all about processes, and like I've worked a process into playing Diva, and I used to, but basically my hero pool has always been Ryan Winston for the longest time, and then I dabbled with Diva, really liked Diva, dabbled with Orisa, and really liked Orisa. But one thing that didn't really allow me to be, I suppose, not consistent, but to actually have a thought process every time I enter a match is what to do with the hero. So for me, it's nice to know what to do with Orisa and highlighting the things I could have done, which I feel that if I have the right mindset going in of what to do, it will then actually allow me to see opportunities that I wouldn't have seen in the first place. So the more I can have that added towards the way I play as a tank player, the better.
Yeah, okay then.
shit? Okay.
You have a
so they're
Bastion,
bunker,
then you
yeah,
just
yeah.
need to wait for me until I hack him.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're playing a Death Ball
Yeah, just
Sombra
play for ult.
composition
Ult.
with a
So
sniper.
you can engage safely.
Good job. It's always important that you shield, you shield
So Diva,
debuffs.
Orisa.
With you.
Okay, so at this point, what you should be doing is you should automatically be trying to go for
Sammy
ult
have hack
charge. I don't see you immediately going for ult charge. That's bad that you don't have this habit implemented down. Whenever you're basically kind of in the setup phase where you're not going to engage the enemy, like anytime you're not engaging the enemy, you should just be looking for ult charge with your fire strike as Ryan. Always.
Okay.
There should never be there's no downtime when when you should have fire strike.
Just wait, guys.
Off
Just wait.
This is bad right here.
Behind
Oh,
it.
they're in the high ground.
And this shield is also bad. You're not doing anything with this shield.
Don't poke. I need my shield.
Going for
Yeah, see, okay, at least point out that you don't want to use your shield.
Don't have
Oh,
cover,
shielding.
You can do
So with Ryan, when you're not engaged in the fight, you should always be looking to get ult charge.
Get it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also,
Back
at
in
the,
attack.
at the entrance.
Nice hack, nice hack.
receive.
Okay, so this is the importance of knowing your role as a
Yeah,
rank.
fuck.
This is the importance of knowing what a role is. Like, what is essentially a role? A role is basically something that a role is something where you are a role as a character in Overwatch. In Overwatch specifically, is where you fulfill something that you and your character will exceed in. And you as a Reinhardt, you exceed in close range combat against so many matchups. Against any sort of 2 DPS composition, I mean against any sort of against any sort of DPS that like tries to contest you and they only have 200 HP, you're gonna win automatically because your hammer and fire strike does so much damage, and you can kill someone within 3 seconds consistently and reliably. Versus they would have to shoot you and try to kill you first before you kill them, and then you just win the fight because you're just so fucking tanky. You have 500 HP. So
He's low though.
it's unfortunate your team kind of died
I
here.
should see
It's unfortunate your team kind
Bastion.
of died here.
He doesn't have.
As for how you could have played this as Ryan, you really couldn't have done, and you couldn't really have done anything different, honestly. Like the only thing you could have possibly ever done different is the same decision making, however, just better execution. Like if your execution was just a little bit better, and say for instance you got more kills from your execution, then that would have been like the only difference. Then you probably would have gotten more value.
Yeah.
So like just kind of going back to over here.
Going for bubble.
It's a good thing you're not wasting your time with high ground
shielding.
because you're not effective against high ground. You're effective against holding areas like this. So if you just take the space right over here, then someone's gonna have to come and contest you eventually. the Bastion's obviously playing over there. So if you can just get
Play-
out of
play-
his line of sight, like this is where if you can get out of his line of sight
The
right
corner,
over here,
play the
what you
corner.
do, this is great. Now the Bastion is like coming across the decision. Hey, should I drop down so I can shoot this Reinhardt? Should I not drop down and possibly live, but also not shoot this
On the
Reinhardt?
wall side.
I bubble on the room.
Give it.
I feel so. Again, back onto the execution here. I notice you decide to go for a straight charge in the distance. Usually, whenever you play as Reinhardt, and you charge, you kind of don't want to have distance between you and the enemy. Like over here, there was quite a bit of distance. So let's look at the second right before you charge. I'm just gonna like play this on slow. And we're just going to mute this because I don't want to hear things on slow mode. It sounds so creepy. So, there was about, I think, this amount of distance. Let's see. And right about, I think... Now, there's a lot of distance between you and this diva. Just too much, in my opinion. This diva has way too big of a... This diva has way too big of an opportunity to completely dodge your charge and just live from it. Say for instance, if you were more closer to this diva, like maybe just a few feet more closer, then you probably would have landed the charge because then the diva wouldn't have been like fast enough to react, and you would have been more likely to hit the charge, get her mech to half, and get more ult charge. So that's the first thing here. You covered way too much distance. See, the diva and Lucio immediately capitalized. They had way too much time. But if you were closer and you charged, then you would have like hit them. Another thing, you kind of shield unnecessarily here. Like, you're not getting shot at. That's the thing, though. You don't have to shield if you're not getting shot at. So, at this point, you should just be trying to play very aggressive and trying to pressure as much enemies as you possibly can until people actually start focusing their guns on you. Right now, if nobody's focusing your guns on you, always play aggressive. Aggressive. A little scuffed on the execution there. You try to focus a Bastion in the presence of a Lucio. Like, in terms of target focus, like target selection, the best target to select here is who is in front of you. As Ryan, always select who's in. Always focus a target who is usually in front of you.
Because that means he's down swing distance at least, I suppose.
Exactly, he's in swinging distance. If you bother yourself with ranged opponents, especially ones on high ground, you're just wasting your time because you're not doing anything. Especially with a fire strike. A fire strike doesn't kill shit; it just damages things. The only moment where your fire strike would have been meaningful is if you tried to use hammer, fire strike, and hammer, because then your fire strike would have been damaging the Lucio, making him killable. So it was a wasted fire strike. However, your fire strike to Lucio, it would have been much more meaningful. You get it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. You kind of don't do the best hammers on him. Not the best. Let's kind of like look at this pathfinding real quick. So over here, I would have immediately selected the target who was in front of me, and that would have been a diva. I had full HP and I had a shield. I had a healer behind me, so I wouldn't have even given a fuck if the Bastion can't easily see me, so I'm just not gonna worry. So you kind of shield a little bit preemptively here. You shield a little too much. You try to fire strike. Yeah, you should have just tried to focus the Lucio here because he was in front of you. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, fast hands against me. He's low though. Anna, try to
Back
save the
up.
Bastion. He doesn't have any
Out of back,
protection.
leave out of back.
Just
Never
die,
mind,
can
okay.
Bastion. Just die. Just stagger.
Orisa is one, like literally one.
The team
I will-
done. Team fight's done.
Yeah.
Larissa's now on the ground though, so there's a good chance for us to
Do
move.
they have Diva back?
Okay. We'll wait for the
Okay,
we'll
wait,
wait for the
wait,
hack
wait.
to happen. We're not
I
in
can't
position yet.
hack him.
We're not in position yet.
I hacked Bastion.
We're not in position to help.
Bastion attack.
Guys, are you listening?
That's funny. It's okay. So here, so sometimes you will come across situations where people are just gonna do things, and whenever somebody, whenever somebody does something, usually you try to make the best of it.
Give it up.
Hmm.
Stun, stun.
Need some heals? Need some
I
heals?
don't.
Good job. I like how you're making the best of this. You had people focusing you down, and you're just like, nope, I don't want to die here. I'll just make it so hard for them to kill me that they're just gonna try to die. They'll die trying to kill you.
Ooh, triple, nice.
Yeah, because one thing I know, what I've kind of drilled into my head is that if I am going to die,
Should work.
just hard shield, because that means they have to, they want to kill me,
Mm-hmm.
so they're going to use as many resources as they can to try and kill me, which obviously I still have my shield for them to break, which then means that, because they're focused on me, they're more likely to die because they're trying to kill me, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so
Okay.
good. That's good play by you. Funny thing, when I was in Masters, I kind of didn't do that as Reinhardt. I just shielded and just hoped I would live, and then I was like, oh wait, I'm not doing this right. So then I tried trying to survive while people focused me, and it
Grab
worked.
dragons.
Just like how it worked here.
Do grab dragons, and if you think beats
I
about to
lived
come
like
up, then use
20% more of my
the thing.
fights.
Oh, nice bubble.
Fall back, guys. Fall back. We need to move. Don't poke, because I want to make sure my shaft is ahead of his.
What's the plan? So do you...
I want to make sure my shatter is ahead of his. What? Don't poke. I want to make sure my shatter is ahead of his. Wait, what are you guys talking about? In this moment. Like,
I think, because I think I know I'm ahead on all charge to the right. I don't want my team to poke, so that way I'll have advantage over him. I think that's what I'm saying.
yeah. You're telling your team to literally negate their chances to charge their ultimates or get more picks by you're literally telling them to not do what I just said, just so that way the Reinhardt just to delay the Reinhardt a few bits of ult charge. That's what you're telling them. Did you know that? Yeah.
Grab EMP or...
No. Grab dragons, and then if they use beat, use EMP.
Yeah, that's so true. Good job. I love your shot calling. Holy fuck.
Pushing forward.
I've never seen somebody on console shot call this beautifully before.
I'm gonna
And of course, you have a few like bits of problems, and that's like you don't trust your teammates' ideas.
flashlight the deep.
Because they like break your trust on execution, which is funny.
But when she eats
But
it, I want you
aside
to
from
fire
all
like
that, it's really good.
Okay, I'm gonna flashlight the diva. No DM, go, no DM, huh?
They use max sword.
Just try to live. Oh no! Yes! Oh my god! You tried to live there.
I will EMP.
So important. Oh, you should have immediately tried to shatter. You had like a split opportunity to shatter
So
them.
it's possible.
You didn't even try to shatter the Reinhardt. You even got like
Should I
forward
though?
to. You should have. It's always worth it to shatter. It's always worth it to shatter at least one person, especially if that person is nanoed. If you shattered that nanoed Reinhardt, he would have been knocked on the ground, and you would have had the chance to hit hammer, fire strike, and then charge him. And then he would have had a higher chance of dying, and you would have lessened the chances of you dying. Another thing we also can look at over here is kind of like how your position was over here in your execution. Like, let's just take a look at your shield position over here. You were perfectly fine in your position. You were already engaging someone. However, you kind of go too deep in, and because now you're so deep in. And I'll talk to you later about what it means to be deep in. Now you're surrounded by the enemy, and now you're gonna get focused by not just the Reinhardt, but now you're gonna get focused by other people too. Like, it's not just the Reinhardt that's like damaging you. It was also the Hanzo that focused you, and the Hanzo wasn't even probably in line of sight of you in the beginning until you pushed forward. So it's fine to play aggressive at a point, but you don't have to play so aggressive to the point where you take too much damage. Like, you don't have to play that aggressive. If you can get value for playing aggressive on one person, then that's great. And if that person is the Reinhardt, that's fine. That's just as fine too. It's also more fun. It's also more fine if you can kill that Reinhardt, because if you kill that Reinhardt, you're up a pick, and that means winning. That means you guys win, and it's easy fight.
Okay.
For you. Yeah.
Should have waited till the DM was gone.
Ana.
Oh, nice picks. And is there any help left side? Nice, Bastion.
It's winnable.
So winnable. Oh.
Nice, Benson.
Oh. Your team is clutching.
Is D.Va behind us still? Yeah, okay. We stagger.
Don't die, Anna.
Oh, good job. Wow, your team staggers. Damn, you guys are more coordinated than my than the team that. How do I say this? What's the more American version of saying senpai?
More American.
Yeah, what's an English version of saying senpai?
Master.
Master? Yeah, I guess you could
Sure.
say we'll go ahead, master. So you guys coordinate more better than the master of the team I coach. Cause I coach a gold team, but then there's also like this platinum team that's like basically a sort of our master that's like sort of our master / teacher towards our gold team. And you guys as a force that coordinate better than our master team, which is not
Do you have
exactly
Jackson for
master,
last
but
fight?
that's what easy win here. So yeah, would you like me to go over any more VODs?
Yeah, so, I posted D.Va, I posted Orisa, I don't really play Hog, I just kind of put it in there just because,
He's there.
was that Ryan? Was that Ryan one I posted? Pretty sure there was.
Yeah, you first posted me in Orisa VOD, because it was a first
Orisa,
list.
Ryan.
Unless you posted me something else. Oh, no, you didn't post me something else, so... Yeah, you first posted me an Orisa VOD, and that kind of led into a Reinhardt VOD. And then now here's like a Reinhardt VOD.
That's pretty right.
Any questions or...
I know this is... Go on.
Any questions or commentary you would like to talk about this game right here? Anything you would like to review or go over? Maybe something you forgot?
Right, so in terms of like the difference between Ryan and Orisa, you mentioned at the beginning that Orisa, because of the way that she's designed, she's very static, where she can't necessarily flash on, flash off her shield, whereas Ryan can. He can obviously adjust it so he's blocking the biggest significant amount of damage to the team. So, what mentality should I have as Ryan to know, as you mentioned with Orisa, opportunities for me to be aggressive versus opportunities for me to play passive for a little bit and then be aggressive again?
Like as Reinhardt?
Yeah, as Reinhardt versus Orisa.
Fuck, I want to give you the most general decision because I want to give you the most general answer for this because in a way it kind of answers all of your situations. But I'm trying to like think of a more better answer than just trying to say it's general, like a more general answer. I'm trying to give you something that where you can understand what my idea, understand what I want to relay across, and okay, so kind of like what we can talk about is going back to the decision making, whether if it's good or bad. So it's really about just kind of recognizing your choices. We'll go back to what I said at the beginning of the VOD. Is the decision to play aggressive good? Do you know why you could be playing aggressive here? Do you know do you recognize why you could be playing aggressive here? Do you recognize why you should have played passive here? Do you recognize why you should have instead done this action or made a different decision instead of doing this? Maybe you had a fundamental problem and people were just playing on another level of you, so now you look to me for coaching to like figure out, hey, can you help me improve at this level, become at this level? And so it's kind of like just knowing how to play. It's knowing about how to it's really just recognizing your situations. Like I can't tell you exactly how to play aggressive as Ryan and when to play passive. Like the time to play if I was to like really answer that, it would sound very forehead. Like this is the answer. Play aggressive if you know you won't die and still get picks, and then play passive if you know that if you play aggressive you'll die and not get picks. Kind of forehead.
Say again,
right?
sorry?
Play aggressive. Play aggressive as Ryan if you know you can get picks and damage without dying. Play passive if you know you can't get picks and damage without dying.
Play passive. Oh, it's just the opposite with the first sentence.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
play
pretty much
passive.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
When you know you won't die and get picks. Play aggressive when you know. Sorry, play passive when you know you will die and won't get picks. Play aggressive when you will get picks and don't die. Kind of that way of thinking.
Yes, but the fundamental part is knowing. You want to know when you
Knowing,
can do. You want to know when you can be aggressive and when you can play passive. You want to know when you can get damage done and when you can like keep playing aggressive to the point where and keep playing aggressive and not and get away with it. You know.
Yeah.
That's the key part of knowing. Is knowing.
But again, that's a statement, but depends on situations, obviously.
Exactly. It obviously depends on situations, and that's where you as a player. This is where you as a player need to learn about these situations. Like, this is where you need to start like learning yourself. Hey, what can I learn here? What can I learn here as a Reinhardt? Could I have like, this is where you can like start learning about team play. It's like how much damage people do, the true threat of people. Being able to play fully aggressive to your max, knowing how to better your execution. Like, this is where you need to start, like, recognizing as a player, like, when I can play aggressive, you know? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, to be honest, in terms of, since you're on the train of Ryan, I like, if you could have time to assess my Ryan VOD then. It's a loss and it's on League Jab.
Alright, yeah, no problem. I'd happily oblige. I love reviewing VODs anyway to like help people. So on the train of thought of Reinhardt, so first off, you're playing 2-2. I am not sure. Does your friend does the other guy pick Zarya? Okay, he picked Zarya. So you're playing a 2-2 comp. So now we're kind of on the topic of knowing when to play aggressive and when to play passive. This is where now we're going to start recognizing situations. One thing we're going to talk about before we get into this is basically the first thing we're going to talk about is HP is a resource when playing a tank. Your HP is the resource of how much you can play aggressive and do damage and get away with it. And this right here will be lesson. Of course, shield is also a resource where you can play aggressive or not. But the main topic here will be
still walking down main.
This comes
Come through.
So over here, you can completely play aggressive because you have all the HP in the world, and there's barely anybody doing damage to you. Back on the topic, if you play recognizing you can play aggressive, recognizing when to play aggressive without dying is so important, and this is what separates good aggressive players from bad aggressive players.
Bubbles down. Who's gonna jump?
See, this is perfect aggression. You have all the HP in the world. Okay, that was a bad charge, but like this was good but that was good aggression. You basically kept trying to pressure the enemy, and you kept trying to pressure the enemy, do damage, possibly get picks, and it was actually threatening them threatening them so much that if they kept getting damaged by you, that they probably would have had to retreat it or they would have died. The only reason why you look like you probably might die here is because you're just getting fucking CC'd like hell.
Healing on point.
And this is the reason why HP is a resource. So now that you're basically kind of took a lot of damage already, now you're at the point where you need to start recovering. So now you're starting to run low on your HP. Now you're running low on the resources of HP. Now you need to start playing passive because you don't want to die. This is good right here.
I'm covering the set.
This is good. So you want to play passive so you can at least live more longer to keep doing more damage for your team.
So you're healing on point.
So this is good right here. This is a good play. And this is also extremely good. Knowing your healer's heal per second is also more important too, because that too is a resource. It's like a regen of resources. Because if you can last 5 seconds as Reinhardt, like if you can stay alive for 5 seconds right now while that Moira is healing you, she will be able to get 350 HP off of you in those 5 seconds. Because Moira does 70 healing per second with her left click.
Again.
And this will allow, and during that time, this will allow you to play very aggressively. Like, look at this. Look at all this HP you have. You could play so aggressively, and you could still live with this HP because the DPS from the enemies is not even that high.
No one.
Like this.
First now, look.
Back on point, left side. Watch out, there's Lucio there. Don't commit too much.
Lucio's right side now. Watch out, Sam.
So that's my point then. So when my HP is low, and I need to recover, learning how long it takes for the healer healing you determines when to be aggressive again. Is that right?
Yeah.
What you said?
It's
Okay.
another important thing is to kind of like always have a mark on your HP. Like if you know the enemy has like high damage, then maybe you want to have like quite a bit of a amount of HP before you go aggressive again. Because if you try to go
Okay.
aggressive and you only had this amount of HP and the enemy has high damage, you might get bursted and comboed down here. However, if you have more HP, you have more of a time window to actually live. But if the enemy has like low damage, like since they had both a Winston and a Hammond, you didn't necessarily need to worry too much about damage because you're not going to immediately get bursted, right? You have a healer behind you